Hello all. In today's video, we're going to answer the simple question of, does compiling a kernel from source actually improve the performance of your computer? I have an older model i7-3770, and I used the Blender benchmark to run these tests. The first kernel I used was the Mainline kernel out of the AUR. The version of this kernel is 6.9.10-RC5. The second kernel I ran was the Liqourix kernel out of the AUR as well, and the version of this kernel is 6.9.7. And lastly, I ran the vanilla Endeavour OS kernel, which is also 6.9.7. The reason that I used Blender Benchmark is because it's open source and it's well recognized and it's very easy to use. It's a good piece of software. The reason that I installed the kernels out of the AUR instead of compiling them myself is to, first of all, make the process easier, and second of all, to try to get the configuration at least mostly similar to the vanilla kernel for the sake of having an accurate test. So let's get into the meat of it. First test we have here is for the mainline kernel. You can see that on the Blender, this gave us a score of 48.18, and I'm going to take a quick second here to go through the scenes. And you can see here that, my computer is really not very good. So for scene 1, the total render time was 32.3099 seconds. It used a peak memory of 646.89 megabytes, and it gave me 23.45 samples per minute. And the render time without sync was 30.7 seconds. For the second scene, it gave me a total render time of 41 seconds, a peak memory of 4838.25 megabytes, and it gave me 15.5 samples per minute, and a render time without sync of 34.3 seconds. And for the last scene, it gave me a total render time of 32.88 seconds, a peak memory usage of 651.56 megabytes, a 9.23 samples per minute, and a no sync render time of 32.51. The second kernel we have here is the Liqourix kernel, which was downloaded and compiled from the AUR. That gives us a benchmark score of 47.51, which was the lowest score of all three kernels. The stats for this one are as follows. For the first scene, we had a total render time of 33.236 seconds, a peak memory usage of 648.89 megabytes, a samples per minute of 22.58, and a render time with no sync of 31.886. For the second scene, we had a total render time of 41.418 seconds, a peak memory usage of 4,830.25 megabytes, a samples per minute of 15.468, and a render time without sync of 39.90 seconds. And for the final scene, we had a total render time of 32.06, a peak memory usage of 651.56 megabytes, a total samples per minute of 9.459, and a render time without syncing of 37.7152. On to the next one. And I saved the best for last. The last one that we have here is the vanilla kernel, which gave me a score of 48.37, the best score out of all three kernels tried. So a quick rundown of the stats for this benchmark. The total render time was 32.072 seconds. The peak device memory usage on the first scene was 646.89 megabytes, and the samples per minute was 23.455. And the render time without sync was 30.7 0.69. For the second scene, the total render time was 40.96 seconds. The peak device memory usage was 4832.25 megabytes, quite a bit. And the samples per minute was 15.6, with a render time without sync of 38.6 seconds. And for the last scene, we have a total render time of 30.6 seconds, a peak device memory usage of 651.56 megabytes, and a sample per minute of 9.312, and a render time without sync of 32.2157 seconds. So, in conclusion, the vanilla kernel performed the best at a 47.37. The Liqourix kernel performed the worst at a 47.51, and the AUR mainline kernel split the difference at a 48.18. The overall difference in the score is very small, at 0.86 in favor of the kernel that was not compiled, which is a very interesting result. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and pray every day.